Okay, hello everyone. We have questions from the internet. Okay, let's get started.
Yes, two questions from a Vietnamese gentleman who is currently participating in the Pho-Chi. The first question is, what is the meaning of Ji-Ding or silent sit?
What was the Chinese words again?
The Chinese words was Ji-Ding.
One more time.
Ji-Ding.
Okay, I'm gonna guess. Take a wild guess. 止静, right? I think that's what. 止 is stop. 静 is quiet. In this context, am I correct? Chinese people, help me out. Right? 止静. You have that in Korean or Vietnamese? You have that, yeah? Vietnamese people, they do that too, or is this only a Chinese thing? Korean, Vietnamese?
Master, Vietnamese is chỉ tịch.
So it's directly from a Chinese. Okay. So the question is, what is the question again? What is that thing? Okay. Well, to be honest, I've never could quite understand what it's about, because when I was at my master's Chinese temples, that's why I noticed what the Chinese were doing. And I never had the chance to do it myself personally because I had to work. Anyway, so to Jing here, if we were to do something similar at all in our temples, I look at the words and I would say that it's it's a stop. Jing is quiet. So it means you stop the words, you stop talking to others in order to quiet down your mind. Okay? So to me, that's what it means. So that seems to be consistent with the practice that they do at the Chinese temples. Don't know about Vietnamese temples. I haven't been to that many Vietnamese temples during practice sessions anyway. And so the idea here is when you stop talking makes you lose qi. Okay, so you stop the words, you stop talking, that to reduce the loss of qi. Jing is to quiet your mind. So the process of not talking will help further quiet your mind down. Okay, so that you quiet the mind down here means that you want to reduce your thinking. Okay, so actually it's a very useful process when you think about it. Okay, so I noticed when I was in Taiwan or in Chinese temples, people who walk around the signs says 止静. I'm not talking. I'm trying to quiet down my mind. Okay, so it seems to be a good practice. Okay, however, I personally I'm not enamored with that. I'm not impressed with that process, because to me it works in some cases. I would tell you when I would do that. I would do that during the Chan Qi, for example. Yes.
Master, here 止静 is actually the silent sit. When we recite, we walk around and then we chant and then we silent sit. What Master is explaining right now is 止语.
止语, okay, 止静. Okay, so this is the silent sit during the walk. Okay, thank you. Okay, so so it's the same concept. It's the Chinese my explanation in Chinese words are correct, but my explanation of the actual meaning of that is incorrect. Because thank you for pointing it out to me. What is your name again? Okay. So to Jing here is during the recitation, we recite quickly and then we stop reciting and we recite silently. Okay, so same thing. You stop the physical activities. Two is you stop physical activities. That's a very important concept because when you sit and do the silent recitation, don't move, don't fidget, don't do anything, don't move at all. So it's a two, to stop everything, okay? Including stopping your thinking of anything else besides reciting. So far, so good. And furthermore, Jing here, I would explain Jing here is to quiet your mind, especially quiet your mind of affliction. Because you might get tired, you might feel tired, you might feel afflicted because your neighbor hasn't taken a shower for the last few days, or your neighbor snores, okay, or your neighbor fidgets too much, so you get afflicted. So the Jing here is to quiet your afflictions, okay? That's what I would do. I would explain it like that. I'm not sure how the Chinese explain it, but that's how that's what I would do during the silent sit. So far, so good? Okay, next.
The second question is, during silent sit, I constantly doze off. Would you please teach me how to deal with this problem?
Is it all the time or at various times only? It's the normal part of your practice is to struggle. So for many people, for some people, they doze off. And it's called karmic obstructions. And it's okay. It's not uncommon for us professionals as well to run into that problem where we doze off. We are wide awake, but as soon as we go into do silent sits or meditate, we all doze off. Ask Master Qian-Che, for example. It's been like that case, right? Am I correct, Master Qian-Che?
Yes.
Yes, see, it's so vocal confirmation right there. How about Master One-Tek? Do you doze off when you meditate? He said something in Korean, I didn't get it. See, mind your business, I think. But the point here is that for us too, we doze off because for them, for example, they work hard, and it's difficult for them to stay awake because they're exhausted, they're tired, or they don't have enough sleep. But that's only an excuse. Actually, for their particular individual cases, it's because if they didn't work, they'd be dozing off as well. Okay, so regardless, the process of sleeping, this is a struggle that I remember when I first started, people asked Master YongHua on that problem. Master Qian-Che asked me about that problem. I gave him a sutta in Pali that was translated into English. I don't know if he remembers which sutta it is. Do you? It basically says, yeah?
I don't remember the name of the sutra.
But I prepared on some kind of PowerPoint slides or something. Okay, if you go back to in the Lu Mountain Temple lectures, during those Chan classes, I talked about it, something. Anyway, in that sutra, the Buddha taught his disciples some tricks on how to stay awake, because it's a quite common problem with practitioners. So, for example, he taught his disciples who often fall asleep to pinch the fingers, pinch the nails, use the nails and pinch the thumbs like this. As the first thing I remember. Okay, so this will help you wake up a little bit. And then if after a while this becomes numb, use the other thumb. Okay? You keep going through the 10 fingers, and if all the 10 fingers don't work anymore, then this is also very painful. You pinch your ears right here. Okay? Anyone would like to try? Come closer, I demonstrate for you. Okay, so it's quite painful. So this you keep yourself awake by inflicting pain on yourself. Okay, it's very uncomfortable. Okay, so that's what you do, and then other things as well, such as when I was at the novice training program at Long Beach Monastery at Master Heng Chang, our kids are lazy, so they fall asleep constantly. As soon as they cross their legs, they're all snoring. The whole room, from big monks, adult monks, to young monks. To my shock, to my horror, when I first came to the program, we got up at 5, did the morning ceremony at 6, and we all went to that small meditation area where the whole group sat together, and they all snored, from the adult monks to all the young monks. So the young novices, I was the only one who was awake the whole time, by the way. And so I started suggesting to Master Heng Chang that we should have some enforcement. So he named me proctor. So I got a wood sword and patrol a little bit. And amazingly, the fear of being beaten seems to work. The threat of being beaten seems to work. And so in particular, at that time I was a novice monk, so the fully ordained monks didn't dare sleep anymore. That worked immediately for the monks. And the older novices would stay awake, because I had have a reputation of very mean of a nature. Okay, except for one boy, Go An. Okay, he's about 11 years old, so he dozed off. He doesn't care. He doesn't listen to anyone. So he would doze off and would take a sword there, and you're supposed to tap it on the shoulders. I said, no, you don't do that. If you beat people, you should beat them properly. So I whack him. And so I tapped a little bit on his shoulders. He leaned forward, because everyone else would tap him a little bit, but it was my turn to proctor. So he leaned forward, expecting, when he leaves, when this guy leaves, I go back to my sleep again. So what's the big deal? Okay, that's what he does to everyone else. So I tap on him, he leaned forward, and very comfortable. Okay, so go over, and I whack him. So you see, the soundness of the wooden sword kind of violently touching his shoulder, and then bang, and then ah! And he cried for 10 minutes, and everyone's awake. Every time I was a proctor, everyone is awake. none of them dare sleep ever again. Okay. So you see, pain works, and you include fear along with it. So I noticed when I went to Korea, and the Sunims also did that. They did they practice without sleeping, and they help each other tap gently. And I asked them, how do you beat people's shoulders? I said, you tap and you make a lot of noise, but it's not supposed to hurt. I said, you guys are too light duty. We professionals don't do that. Am I correct, one Texini? You only tap, make a lot of noises, right? It's not supposed to hurt, right? Yeah. In our temples, I'm warning you, we beat you for real, okay? So anyway, so you can have people proctor, you can, and the kids after a while, I realized I was the only one who had the reputation of being a cruel person, so I refused to proctor, and they went back to sleeping. So then we tried spraying water. Each one of us have a water spray bottle, $2 from Target, okay? And you fill the water when you leave it sleepy and you spray it. It's part of, by the way, it's part of in the sutta. The Buddha taught that as well, okay? And also another trick you also have is that when you feel you can't fight it anymore, you stand up. You don't sit down, okay? So there are a lot of things, and if you go through my slides again, you find all those things to fight sleeping. To me, I feel that all those are okay, but to me, I don't mind people sleeping at all. Okay, for most of my students, when I first started at Lu Mountain Temple here, most of them slept. Okay, people would, the husband would drive the wife. The wife would have something like fly down here, and then for the chanchi, and the first thing she does as soon as we cross the legs in full lotus is lean forward and sleep for the whole session after session after session. Okay, the whole day. I never said anything. Okay. And after a week, the husband would drive from up north down here to pick her up and say, "Did you have a good chanchi?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm very happy." So she slept the whole time. And then many of my other professional disciples also slept as well, or the lay people also slept, but I never said anything. So in our chanchi, anything goes. Whether you screaming, or you snore, well, snoring is not permitted, but you crying, all those things are okay, and you sleeping is okay, because it turns out that if you're doing a chanchi, you sleep for the first 3-4 days, maybe 5 days, 6 days you're wide awake. It's not possible for you to sleep anymore, okay, because your body gets used to it. As long as you don't quit. So we allow you to sleep, but you must be in full lotus. Okay? Try to sleep in full lotus, you see. Okay? So to me, the sleeping is okay. And the rationale for that is, for me, cultivation is about struggle. You're supposed to struggle, okay? If you struggle, I'm happy. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do, whatever struggle you have to go through, it's part of the training. If it's easy, then I don't look at it as a practice at all. Okay, YouTube comment.
And Elta D says, "I don't have a problem falling asleep. I wish I could fall asleep sitting in full lotus, but it hurts too much."
sit longer. So it's okay if it's the struggle too. If the legs are in pain, you have it's difficult for you to stay in full lotus. That's part of the training. Okay, yeah. Because to me, when you struggle, that's when there is training. It's supposed to be difficult for you. So I myself challenge myself. I don't necessarily stick to the regular thinking that the Chinese do. I myself prefer to be challenged. I find something to challenge myself, something is difficult for me to do, then that's how I drive myself. Okay, and why do we allow that? Because all those people that we allow to, that we so lax that they can sleep, they can lean forward, they can snore, someone do snore, they cry, they scream, and they shake like crazy. In fact, all those people, they actually eventually outgrew those challenges and actually got quite very far. In contrast, if I look back at all the people who go through the regular, non-sleeping, that kind of thing, I don't see them making progress at all. You see? And so that, to me, I'm more practical-minded. I allow those things because they don't seem to stop our students, our participants from making progress at all. Okay? So the answer, it's a long answer to the question, because it's really no good answer if you are from the persuasion, you believe that you should follow all those strict guidelines where there's 10 pages worth of don'ts when you join a Chan hall or the Buddha hall. I'm not of that group. I don't subscribe to the theory that you need to be so disciplined. Okay, because that does not necessarily help you make progress. It doesn't necessarily help you overcome your karmic obstructions that well at all, in my mind. Okay? So if you struggle with staying awake, then keep fighting. Find ways to fight. Okay? And keep fighting, and one way you will overcome it. Okay? Even when a nun asked Master YongHua, a nun who is at Gold Wheel Monastery, which is in the LA area as well, she asked him, I fall asleep and I have a hard time staying awake. And Master YongHua didn't give her a good answer either. Okay? So I didn't have any really good tips from Master YongHua. So we tried ours, and our people got further than his. So I don't necessarily worry about you falling asleep that much. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Black. Purple.
A Di Đà Phật thầy. Cái lúc mà ngồi im lặng mà không có niệm Phật đó, thì con nghĩ lung tung rất là nhiều. So is it okay con just recite it by dùng cái beat được không thầy?
Recite what?
Recite the Buddha name by dùng cái beat đó thầy.
Beat, oh yeah. During the silent sit?
Master, during the silent sit, I have a lot of false thought. So is it okay if I recite the Buddha's name using the beat?
If you recite during the silent sits using the beats, then can I ask you to do it inside your what do you call this, sleeves, so that you don't affect anyone else around you, because we pretend to be cultivators. Okay, so don't tell others that you are using beats or punching your fingers. Okay, don't tell anyone. It's okay. But the point here is you can do that. However, again, if you struggle, it's a good sign. When you struggle and you keep on fighting, that is part of the training. This is my style of training is different from my Chinese in that sense. The Chinese, they put you in this collar, this narrow alley where everyone needs to do the same thing because they have 1 billion people. So they need to streamline the operation. You cannot afford to have, proctors running around and so forth. But for us Americans, we are unruly by nature. We're anarchists. Okay? By nature, we are very individualistic, very very pleasure-seeking. So we really have a hard time listening, obeying direction and listening to others' demands and requirements. So I feel that for our culture, for the West, for the modern times, I feel that it's okay. You should have more. You should not be as rigid as the Chinese. And so the objective of this process is to struggle. So if you during the silent sit recitation, you struggle with your many thoughts, that's a normal process for everyone, not just you. Me too. Occasionally I do struggle. Once a blue moon I don't struggle. Okay, it takes a while before our mind settles down. Okay, that's normal. Okay, so the struggle is part of the training. Okay, and make sure that you don't move during the sit as well. 取静, you stop all movements, all physical movements as well. Okay, so preferably you don't want to use the beats anymore. You just don't move at all, and you fight with your mind only, fight with your thoughts only. Okay, I think the Chinese system leaves people with the impression that they're supposed to succeed. Like you go into the silent recitation, everyone is supposed to be able to sit without moving and then recite silently and without any problems. But it doesn't quite work like that. We all have our own struggles. Okay, and so the idea behind this is that it doesn't matter actually. I don't care whatever level you are from low level to high level. When you practice in our environment, I assure you, it's a struggle. Okay, it's not supposed to be easy. If you have no problems, that means you're not working hard enough. That's all. Okay. So, by the way, that's my take on the practice. The practice here, especially during the qis, is for you to fail. You keep failing and failing and failing and failing. Every time you fail, you learn something new. And then you encounter a new problem, you fail again, and you learn something new. And the problems keep on coming at you. You know why? This is, I don't think, I doubt that even a Chinese system, people would be able to sit without any problems. It's because you have so many karmic obstructions that will come at you during your practice. So it's expected for you to struggle. The Chinese just don't quite articulate it that way, but that's what actually happens. Okay, we all struggle every day, every time, and that's part of cultivation. Okay, so when you're struggling, you're doing something right. Just don't quit. That's all. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Red.
Master, someone wanted to share her vision.
Yes, we have a lot of people who have visions.
이 비전을 나누고 싶다고 합니다. Master, I would like to see what I saw yesterday during the Buddha recitation sit.
Okay.
나누고 싶습니다. I saw a wooden wall behind the three sages statues area.
A what wall?
Behind the
Saw what wall? You saw something behind
A
the
dark wooden wall.
behind that wall.
Behind that three stages area.
In that area of the wall.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
it becomes a wooden wall.
Yeah,
Okay,
it became
okay,
a dark
fine.
wooden wall.
We are sure it's not a straw, a straw mud and straw wall.
이게 뭐
Continue. It's okay. It's okay.
So the dark wooden wall split and made as a small passage that only one person can pass through. Then I saw 4 older lay people entering the passage one by one. Then they were walking toward the brilliant golden light. That's the vision.
Okay. Anyone won a lottery? Okay, very good. Thank you for sharing with us. Anyone would like to interpret that vision? Be my guest. That's what happens. It's not uncommon for people when they come here and practice. They have all kinds of visions and this and that. They saw light. They see lights. They see Buddhas. They see Bodhisattvas. They see Master YongHua, and so forth. So it's quite commonplace, actually. Okay, we hear a lot of those types of reports. So the person who wanted to share that thing with me, probably a Korean, you can tell because of the translator. So it's okay. Don't think you're crazy. It's quite normal around here. All right, anyone else? Yes, more visions. Green.
Con muốn chia sẻ kinh nghiệm là thầy thường nói là tu phải theo thiện tri thức. Cái đó rất là đúng và rất quan trọng. Tri thức là cái người ta biết đường, người ta chỉ mình theo thôi, mình đừng có đặt ra theo ý mình. Thì trong cuốn sách của thầy á, là ngồi 1 tiếng đồng hồ đầu kiết già thì nó đau, mà qua sau 1 tiếng thì nó bớt đau. Nó khó chịu thôi nhưng mà không có đau khủng khiếp như lúc đầu. Thì đối với con khi mới vô chùa này còn cư sĩ đó, là con theo Pháp Việt Nam đó là cái bộ đoàn phải 2 inch. Thì vô đây thì bác bỏ ra hết, coi như làm lại từ đầu. Đau khủng khiếp lắm, mà sợ thầy không dám bung ra. Thì có một lúc đó thì tự nhiên người nó nhẹ còn hơn bông gòn nữa. Thì thầy báo với mấy người bạn con là con đắc sơ thiền. Lúc nó mừng nó chảy nước mắt luôn á. Lúc là năm nhớ con mới vô chùa bằng cư sĩ, cũng thiền thất như vậy nè. Rồi sau khi vô chùa xuất gia rồi thì con hỏi cô Nhẫn với mấy thầy dạy mấy cô phát tinh sao. Thì cô nói tuần lễ đầu đó không uống nước nhiều mà uống có nửa chai thôi, mà không có được bung cái chân ra. Thì con chỉ học lớn qua cô Nhẫn thôi. Thì 3 ngày đầu nó đau khủng khiếp lắm, mà ra 1 tiếng đồng hồ thì nó bớt, nó tăng nó khó chịu thôi. Thì con sợ bung ra như thầy dạy thì con mới lấy dây con cột lại, cột 2 cái chân lại. Rồi sợ nó bung ra mình ngủ rồi mình té ra thì nó bung ra, con mới cột một cái dây khác vô trong cái dây nịch, cái beo của mình nè. Dầu có té nó ngủ qua lăn ra cũng không có bung được. Thì đến ngày thứ 3 đó, con nghe thầy giới đánh răng ở trong cái restroom. Thì tự nhiên con nghe lúc đó con giờ đồng hồ là 5 giờ rưỡi sáng. Thì nó cũng đau lăn tăng chứ nó không có đau tiếng đồng hồ đầu. Mà trong 3 ngày đó vẫn còn cột, không có bung ra. Theo lời thầy dạy là không có được bung ra, phải giữ kiết già. Thì khi mà con giật mình con mở mắt ra thì ở ngoài mặt trời nó chiều rồi, tức là qua 12 tiếng đồng hồ. Không biết là con ngủ hay là con nhập định, con không biết. Thì tự nhiên cái đau hồi mấy ngày nay nó biến mất, là con ngồi như vậy là 13 ngày đêm không ngủ không ăn. Sợ lâu lâu khát nước, mình sợ chết thì mình liếm chút xíu nước thôi. Đến chừng thầy biểu mấy Phật tử đi vô kêu con ra thì con ra, chứ thật sự con tính ngồi 1 tháng luôn á. Không buồn ngủ, không đói bụng, không gì hết á. Cứ ngồi như cục đá vậy thôi, mà rất là happy. Người mình nó nhẹ, không có mỏi, không ngứa chỗ nào hết. Đó là theo lời của thầy chỉ dạy. Rồi cái lần thứ 2 là cách đây 2 năm.
Stop, let it translate. They might have questions for you.
Master, I feel that when we cultivate, we need to follow a good knowing advisor, because the good knowing advisor already know the way, so they can show us where to go. So in the book, you also mentioned that when we cross our leg, the first hour, it will pain. The pain is like at the peak. After that, the pain is still come and go, but it's not as intense. And I remember when I first came to participate, because I used to the Vietnamese way, so I always used the cushion to sit on it. It's very tall, 2 inch. And then when I come to this temple, Master didn't allow me to use the cushion. So I have to sit flat on the floor. It hurt so much, but I didn't dare to unbuckle. And then I continued to bear the pain, and then suddenly the pain disappeared, and then I feel so light, like a cotton, like a feather. So after that, Master told people that I enter first dhyana. That's when I was still a lay person. And after I shaved my head, and one of the chanchi that I was doing fasting, I don't know how to fast, and then I asked Venerable Xianren what is the way, and then she showed me that, okay, just drink a little bit of water, and then cross leg, I cannot unbuckle. So I was afraid that when I fall asleep, I will unconsciously unbuckle. So that's why I have to use the rope to tie up my legs. And then for the first 3 days, it's so uncomfortable. And I remember on the 3rd day, in the morning, I can hear Venerable Xianjie brushing his teeth in the restroom. And I checked the clock, was 5:30 a.m. And at that moment, it's still uncomfortable. The pain is a little bit running. And my leg, I still tie my leg. And then I continue to sit, and then the next time I open my eyes, I realize like 12 hours already passed. I don't know during that 12 hour whether I enter samadhi or I fall asleep or whatever, I don't know. But after that, I feel so light all of the discomfort disappear. And then because of that, I can sit continuously for 13 days without sleeping, without eating. I just drink a little bit of water. And I felt like I can continue to sit like that for 1 month until Master instruct someone to tell me to break my sit. So that's my experience, that you need to follow instruction.
Yes, and then second,
con xin chia một cái, con xin bổ túc một cái nữa là cái này nếu không nói là thành nói láo. Là cái ngày thứ 3 quá đau đó, thì con muốn quên cái đau đi, thì con dặn cái băng mà con thâu Hòa Thượng Tiến Hóa tụng bằng 9 cái giọng của Ngài Chúa Đại Bi. Con nghe qua cái earphone nè, thì lúc đó là bất tỉnh luôn, là 12 tiếng đó, không biết gì hết. Sau khi nghe đang nghe cái Chúa Đại Bi đó thì như vậy đó, của Hòa Thượng, cái giọng Hòa Thượng tụng.
I want to add one detail that on the third day that it hurts so much, and then because I want to forget about the pain, so I turn on the recording of Master YongHua that he recite the Great Compassion mantra. I just use the earphone to put it into my ear and listen, and that's how the 12 hours passed by.
you know, the funny thing is, when I was at my master's temples, I shaved my head. He allowed me to shave my head, and he died 4 months later. And then they proclaimed that he gave them instructions to train us. So I had no fear, had nothing to be afraid of. The monks who be training us on his behalf continued to train us. Plus, I was at the seated 10,000 Buddhas, which is supposedly a training center for monks. So at the right place with the right people. So I was there for about 4.5 years, and I didn't make any progress, any significant progress. Okay, whereas nowadays you novices are making progress so quickly, you lay people are making progress so quickly. So clearly there's some differences here. Okay. And as I was listening to you today, I was a good thing I stopped myself from opening my big mouth and tell and spit and spill the beans. Why? Why? What's the difference? Because I spill the beans to you, it's not good for the other temples. Okay, so it would be going into the area of self-promotion or putting down the other places. So that's why the old abbot here stopped me at the right time. So you can blame it on him for not spilling the beans on you, on this process. Why it is this way? Why is that in the past the rate of progress is not as fast as the way it is right now? Okay, YouTube question.
Trin asks, are the 4 lay persons people from our assembly?
The 4 lay people? What? From what? Okay, anyone wants to gossip? Yeah, go ahead. It's just 4 people, so probably they don't recognize these 4 people.
The person who saw the vision only saw the behind of this older 4 lay people who's wearing our ceremony robe. So must be from
Were they walking or they flying?
They were walking one by one into the
What
passage.
a disappointment. So some kind of portal that people have to walk through. See, when you start gossiping, there's no end to it. Yes, go ahead, Red.
The person who saw a vision just sent a text message. They're the one who's participating on Bo Chi.
Just look
right
around
now.
who's typing. You can tell who that person is. Okay. Let me tell you. The reason that the all you have to do is is to look at the results, and that's why I tell you a very simple rule of thumb: you're not making progress, is because you're not struggling enough. The more you struggle, the more you will progress. That's our environment. You look at Master Xian-che, for example. He struggled so hard his entire 10 years here. Ask him, is it easy? Is any single day easy for him? No, that's how tough he is. And he failed day after day after day after day for 10 years. And on top of it, my being manic, I lose my temper. I would yell at him as well, abuse him as well. Okay? It's also my excuse that he asked me to abuse him. So, you see, so the point here is that you're supposed to struggle. Okay? If you struggle, then you struggle in following the instructions. When you follow instruction, you struggle, it's a good thing. Okay? You're on the right tracks. Okay? That's spy number one there. She's getting derailed because it used to be difficult for her. Okay? When she came and she came and, for example, to cook in the kitchen, and what is the nature of her struggle? Her struggle is that she keeps on mouthing off at others, complaining about this, complaining about that, criticizing this person, criticizing that person, and this person, and so forth. And people, of course, would react, have adverse reaction to her, and so forth. And they came and complained to me, and so forth. Okay, so the struggle right there. See, now she's getting personal. I'm getting what I deserve. So the point here is that she struggled too. Even in the kitchen, she struggled. Okay? And then she came to the Buddha hall, she struggled as well, because I gave her instruction, told her to do things that she couldn't do herself. Okay? And she fought day after day during the Chanchi as well. So you see, I can give you this tip. In our temples, you struggle a lot more than any other place. And that's guaranteed. And that's why you progress so quickly. Yes, go ahead, spy number one.
Mô Phật bạch thầy, con tới đây đó thầy, con có một cái nguyện với sư phụ. Thầy, con đó không biết đi tìm đâu mà để học pháp. Thầy sư phụ đi mình cũng không có mà để học pháp được cái sư phụ. Thầy con có nguyện đó là sư phụ phải chỉ dẫn một người thầy để cho Quảng Ngân để học được cái pháp. Thầy xong á, thầy con cũng đi tìm nhiều chỗ lắm rồi. Tìm nhiều chỗ của sư phụ á, sư phụ nhiều cái đạo tràng lắm, con có đi người này người kia mà con không có thấy người nào mà để thích cho con hết trơn á. Thầy con lại tới cái chùa này kia bằng về quy Lân Xuân Tự ha. Thầy con lần đầu tiên thầy có gặp được thầy, tự nhiên mà con có cái ấn tượng gọi là con muốn ở đây để tu. Xong thầy Quảng Ngân thầy cũng không ấy, thầy tu thầy mới ban đầu đó tới đây đó thầy cũng rất là gian nan, rất là gian nan. Thầy Quảng Ngân á, thầy cũng thấy có Phật tử đồ tới đây để ngồi để học đồ để tu đồ này kia đó, thì Quảng Ngân rất là mừng. Thì thầy trả lời một tiếng á, thì mấy người Phật tử nó lại tới đây thì nó mới hỏi, nó mới nói này nói kia. Thầy thì bắt đầu không có đồng ý cái chuyện đó, thì Quảng Ngân cũng nhìn thấy. Nên là thầy nói là thầy không có thì giờ mà để tiếp xúc những người này đâu, thì Quảng Ngân cũng nghe ở trong cái lỗ tai. Mô Phật cần dịch không?
So, Master, when I came to the temple, actually I make a vow with Shifu, because after he passed away, I couldn't find any place to study. So I vow, I pray to him to guide me to find a teacher so that I can learn. I also went to a lot of way places in the organization, but I couldn't find anyone that I like. And finally, I arrived to Lu Mountain Temple. I met Master here, and then in the beginning, I saw that Master was struggling too, and then there's a lot of lay people came to practice. I was happy, but then when they start to say this thing and that thing, blah, 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 and then Master saying like, I don't have time to deal with these people.
Phật. Xong rồi thì con tới đây thì cũng không có gì mà để cho con học hết trơn á. Thầy có khi thì xuống bếp nấu bếp đồ này kia thôi, là con không có nghĩ cái gì mà nhiều. Thầy con muốn để thầy thuyết pháp cho con nghe. Mà ngày xưa thầy nói là không có thuyết, không có giờ này đâu. Bây giờ mấy người đó căn cơ thấp quá không có nghe được, thầy không có thuyết. Thì con cũng để ý cái chỗ đó mà con cũng để chỗ đó.
So when I first came, I didn't have much to do, so I work in the kitchen. And tell you the truth, I don't have anything to learn at all, because I asked Master to speak Dharma for me, and then Master say like, no, I don't have anything to say, because these people, their roots are very low, so I don't have anything to say.
Thầy, xong thì tới một hôm sau này đó thì qua cái chùa mới thì Quảng Ngân thấy cũng cái gì làm á không mấy gì cho Quảng Ngân mà vừa lòng hết á. Mình còn Quảng Ngân nói thiệt, thầy con kêu thầy lại, con mắng vốn thầy. Mắng vốn thầy, đệ tử thầy đó tôi không có thích. Tôi nói đệ tử thầy đó con không có thích. Thầy mới trả lời mà Quảng Ngân một tiếng á, bây giờ đó thầy không có dạy những người đệ tử này là con của thầy à. Thầy bởi vì thầy nói một cái câu đó để con cũng là nhận được nữa. Thầy nói là bây giờ đó đệ tử của thầy đó mà thầy không dạy đó để nó đi lội lặn đó, đi nó xuống địa ngục đó, thầy khổ đi. Thầy Quảng Ngân nghe thầy nói một cái câu đó đó, thầy Quảng Ngân biết nó thầy á, là một người thầy đó cũng rất là cực khổ, chứ không phải là muốn dạy được một người đệ tử, một người mà xuất gia đó, muốn dạy một người để hoàn thành đó, thầy cũng không có dễ đâu. Để Quảng Ngân nhìn thấy cái chỗ đó, thì Quảng Ngân cũng rất là nể thầy. Bây giờ thầy Quảng Ngân lại tới đây không biết bao nhiêu năm mà thầy được 10 mấy đứa con. Thầy được 10 mấy đứa con mà thầy dạy cũng rất là hay đó. Bởi vì Quảng Ngân cũng rất là phục thầy. Người nội trong cái in dịch kinh á, cái dịch kinh đó, cái ấy đó Quảng Ngân thấy là quá xá là hay. Mô Phật.
So after we moved to the new temple, basically, I look around, there's nothing that make me happy at all. And so to the end, like I complained to Master, say, you know what, Master, I don't like your disciple at all. I disagree with whatever they do. And then guess what? Master told me that if he didn't teach them, then they will go into hell. That's why he's the only one that's capable of teaching them. And then once I heard about it, I am so admire Master. I say, oh my goodness, Master's job is so difficult. He has to go through a lot of hardship to train these left home people. It's not easy to train these people. So after a few years now, he has 10 plus left home disciples. I am so amazed about the hard work, about the result, how they came out, and especially when it comes to translating the sutra. I'm so admire that.
Nó ngừng cái bây giờ thầy ơi, bởi vì bây giờ mình cũng ấy rồi, cũng rất là lớn tuổi rồi, bây giờ nó không biết làm sao một năm nay đó, Quảng Ngân quên đuôi dữ lắm, nhiều cái nói câu chuyện đó nó không có thành được một câu chuyện mà nó quên lắm thầy. Rồi con cái ước vọng đó thầy, con đó tới sau này đó thầy, cái Covid này qua rồi đó thầy, con có tới chùa, thầy con tới chùa đó thầy, con thấy thầy thiết những cái pháp đó rất là hay để cho Quảng Ngân đó cũng là học hỏi được chút đỉnh. Mô Phật. Mà bây giờ nó quên đầu quên đuôi nhiều quá thầy. Thời gian mình chắc không còn bao lâu nữa đâu thầy. Bây giờ đó nhờ thầy đó ủng hộ thêm một thời gian nữa đi. Mô Phật.
So Master, now I'm getting old. For the past year, I start losing my memory. When I say something and then I forgot the next thing, it hardly to become a complete story. But in summary, after COVID, and then I came back to visit the temple, and I realized that Master started talking Dharma to me, a lot of good Dharma. But the thing is, like, my memory is so bad right now. Probably I don't have much time left. So I wish that Master can prolong my life a little bit longer.
You see, this woman still doesn't get it. See, that's why you don't need to understand. You just follow the schedule and you make progress. To this date, she does not understand why that after being here for 10 years, she's made it to first stage arhatship. And she doesn't even know how, she can't even sit in full lotus. She doesn't really know how to meditate. She sits there and she sleeps. At that corner right there, doing a chanchi, she sits there and sleeps all day and all night. And then she gets up and sits for 2-3 hours per day, and that's it. And she called it, she told her family, I'm going to the temple to do a chanchi, and she slept the whole day, every single day. Okay? But why did it work? It worked because she followed instructions. Okay? So this woman here, the spy number one, that's why I recognize her as spy, because she really is not here to learn. She's here to steal something, I think. Because that's why when I call you spy, her spy, because I don't teach her. I don't claim to teach her. Okay, she will pick and choose whatever she wants. So the reason she got this far is because until the COVID came along, for her to continue to come to the temple to support in the kitchen, or she had to fight a lot of people and so forth. So she had to follow my instructions half-heartedly. Okay, but now she says, I don't like it anymore. I go to the temple. My kitchen is no longer mine. People don't listen to me anymore, and so I have no reason to come to the temple anymore. So what is she doing? She no longer listens to my instructions. And guess what? The woman has a TIA. It's a small stroke. Yeah, it's a small stroke. Okay? So listen to the old monk. He's giving you a very good tip. Just follow the instructions. Try your best to follow instructions. When you struggle, that's when you're learning, and that's when you're making progress. Okay? You're supposed to struggle. That's it. If you struggle, I don't care how, okay? struggle in staying awake, struggle in working. You know, my boys, you know, the monks, they can't really meditate. So I put them to work. So they struggle at work. You know, we ask you to do things that they don't know how to do. Working with people that's very difficult to work with. Okay, the first thing he came a few months ago, he said, "Do I take instruction from you or from the lay person?" I said, "From a lay person." Not from me. I don't want to hear from you. Okay? Okay, so, you know, in that creed system, the Sunims bark orders to lay people. They don't listen. They don't take orders from lay people. But I told them, you take orders from that person. Okay? So that's my instructions. You follow instructions, you have a chance to make progress. You don't follow my instructions, sayonara, see you next lifetime. Okay? So that's it. Just follow instructions. And the struggle is a good thing. Okay? The struggle will save your life, will help you improve. Okay? And I guess I'm one of those monks that she tattletale on me. I'm one of those monks where I really don't care about what you think of me. Okay. So because it never stopped me from doing what I do. Whatever your opinion of me rarely matters in my work. YouTube question.
Alta D asks, in the world, there is the balance of yin and yang, but doesn't the struggle and hard work, such as the yang, need to be balanced with rest and relaxation, so the yin? Because I found myself overwhelmed sometimes, and I have felt that when I let myself rest, I come back stronger. So one example is when I've been sitting, I was fighting the pain for a long time. I decided to try to relax, and when the pain hurt, and it allowed me to get through the pain and sit longer. So is this the natural law, or am I just being lazy?
Each one of you will have to struggle in your own ways. As long as you're struggling, it's okay. Okay? Don't worry about additional concepts of balance and so forth. That's called false thinking. I didn't teach you about balance. What are you doing sitting there and worry about balance and so forth? All I ask you to follow the schedule and struggle. The schedule is supposed to be difficult for you. And when you struggle and you fail. Okay? That's the training. Stop thinking about coming up with a reason for this and that. Just find a way to survive, find a way to make it through a day. Okay? That's it. And if you can't, stand up, go get some rest, or stand up, go work. And you see, look around you, see so many examples of different people from different backgrounds, different potentials, different skill sets. Look at what they're doing. They're all struggling. And my boys are struggling to meditate. So I only make them sit and struggle with me for the Chan sits once a week on Saturday morning. And I make them go to the ceremonies when possible. Okay? And so forth. They're struggling as well. Okay? So our program is to struggle. That's the bottom line. If I tell you to do something, it's supposed to be difficult for you to do. If it's easy, then you don't need us. If it's easy, then you will not make progress that quickly. Okay? And so that woman, spy number 1 there, her problem is that in the past she struggled in order to stick around Okay? And because she didn't like a lot of things, but she had to swallow all those afflictions in order to stick around. And now I tried to give her a tip, but she didn't quite listen. Now she finds it very hard to stick around. And that's why she's no longer making progress. We're supposed to struggle. Okay? This is not like the worldly pursuits where you do it because you're successful. Here, you do it because you can't, because you reach your limits. Okay? That's the peculiar nature of our training. We put you in a position to fail, and yet you don't quit. You keep on going, coming back, and try and have a go at it again. Okay? You fail, but you don't quit. Okay? For example, that's why the spine number 1, she says, I can't, I don't feel like coming anymore. Okay? Because it's no longer my temple, it's no longer my kitchen, no longer, whatever. Okay? I'm no longer important to him. Okay? Before at Blue Mountain Temple, he needed me. Now he doesn't need me anymore. But, what I needed her in the past is only an expedient for her to come. The next test, her next phase right now is she must come to the temple when she's not needed, and she doesn't get it. Okay? Stupid woman, what can I say? Okay? And her cousin, the same problem. They don't listen. These people, they say, I'm old, I have a lot more experience, this is a young kid here. What does he know? What can he tell me? Okay? I don't already know. All these old people have the same problem. They think they know more than I do. Okay? And yes, they do in life, but I know more than they do about training. Okay? So her problem has never gone away, was now obvious. Last 10 years, okay, she struggled because but she had to listen to my instructions in order to be around. Okay, now she doesn't feel like she doesn't need to listen to me anymore. She says, I don't have any real reason to come anymore. I don't have any motivation to come anymore because he doesn't need me anymore. Okay? So be it. Die. Comment from Blue Mountain Temple.
여보세요?
What?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I would like to speak to the spy number 1. Back in 2012 and 13, when I started the Chanchi at the Blue Mountain Temple, I remember I used to cook with spy number 1 and spend a lot of time with her. And I remember when I didn't know what's going on and I suffered so much, she was always the one very kind to me. So I really hope that she continue and then be happier. I just wanted to talk to her. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to her.
Quả Ngân, mô Phật. Bởi vì Quả Ngân tu đó thì cũng có một cái giai đoạn để tu chứ không phải là tiếp tục thì mình cũng tiếp tục nữa, thì tùy theo. Chứ quả ngân thì bây giờ muốn để nghe pháp với để học pháp thôi, là cái chủ yếu là quả ngân tới như vậy thôi. Rồi nói là làm công quả đồ này kia thì mình làm rồi đó, cũng một thời gian mà miễn người ta có làm đó thì mình để cho người ta làm, chứ không lẽ mình làm hoài sao, làm suốt đời đâu, không có đâu thầy. Thầy Quả Ngân nói ở đây đó, thì cái hiểu biết của Quả Ngân như vậy, thì nhiều khi cái sơ sót Quả Ngân không biết đó, thầy nhờ thầy chỉ dẫn dùm, giúp dùm. Chứ thầy đó tùy tu thì thầy thấy được cái núi bên kia, Quả Ngân đâu có thấy được. Thì Quả Ngân cái núi bên đây thôi, thì Quả Ngân biết bao nhiêu thầy nói bao nhiêu, làm bao nhiêu thôi. Rồi thầy đó, thầy ở trong cái núi bên kia, nhìn thấy qua bên cái núi bên kia vàng không, tụi con không có thấy được. Bởi vì con đi tới đây là không biết muốn tiếp tục đi, muốn ngừng, Quả Ngân cũng không biết nữa. Thầy nhờ thầy hướng dẫn. Rồi Quả Ngân có một cái nguyện rất là lớn từ sư phụ tới đây giờ đây, là Quả Ngân nó muốn làm sao mà được đi giảng sanh thôi. Mà Quả Ngân cũng kêu gọi tất cả những người nào đó cũng phải tiếp xúc làm sao mà được đi giảng sanh, đừng có thế giới này thôi. Quả Ngân một cái mục đích là đi tu, là đi tới chùa, là cái mục đích là như vậy thôi. Chứ Quả Ngân không có nghĩ những cái gì trên đó, muốn học, muốn làm phước, làm gì Quả Ngân không nghĩ. Cái ước nguyện Quả Ngân đó là từ ngày sư phụ á, từ mà Quả Ngân biết cái chùa Vạn Phật Thành đó, thì Quả Ngân có ước cái nguyện rất là lớn đó. Đời Quả Ngân cũng rất là khổ, rất là nhiều, cũng lặn lội rất là ấy. Bởi vì nghe sư phụ đó nó có một cái pháp mà để đi giảng sanh đó, thì Quả Ngân thì nói ở trong chùa của sư phụ đó thì có một cái ước nguyện đó, thì có một người thứ hai để tiếp xúc cái tiếp thừa kế cái chuyện này. Bởi vì Quả Ngân đó ước mong, ngày đêm ước mong tới đây để mà được thầy được có một cái sức lực để cho chúng sanh được đi giảng sanh, là chỉ theo một cái điềm niệm đó thôi. Rồi Quả Ngân nói là tu làm phước cái gì Quả Ngân không có biết đâu, cực khổ đó, quá là cực khổ rồi. Nói làm phước đồ này kia, muốn tu mà để giác ngộ rồi để cái này cái kia, chắc Quả Ngân không có nghĩ tới chỗ đó, không có màng tới những cái chỗ đó nữa. Yeah, okay.
So anyway, don't need to translate this her babbling. It's okay. The point here is that when you come, you find out some challenges, whether it's very difficult for you to get away from home, to leave home, or whether it's too far, whether it's uncomfortable, whether you get afflicted by people here. Those are challenges that's supposed to happen. That's normal, okay? So that's part of cultivation, that's all, okay? I do realize it's difficult for you to get away from home because you have a lot of responsibilities at home, okay? And your family don't understand why you would come to the temple and neglect them. So it's not fair to your family. So you can't explain it to them either. So it's a very, very difficult thing for you to do, okay? And then you come to the temple, it's not pleasant either. You come to the temple, you leave home, the family is not happy. You come here, people are happy when they look at you. So, so you see, it's a lot of struggle. It's not easy. What we do is not easy at all. Okay? Yes, there's a question. Purple.
I would like to make a comment. When Auntie Guoying worked in the kitchen, only the people who came to the temple knew her. But actually, now on the internet, on the YouTube, and she has a cult follower. So people all know this spy number 1 and Auntie Guoying. So she really adds the flavor to Master's Dharma talk. So I just want to say, just in case she hasn't realized, actually she may be even much more needed. Thank you.
But she's not as famous as Daniel, I understand.
Clearly, there's a fierce competition, so she needs to work harder.
Yeah.
Struggle
Question
more.
from JMT, yes. Lots of gossiping tonight. We're not going to learn any real Dharma tonight. Question from Korea. Okay, no question. All right, maybe they have to wait too long, so
네,
they...
질문이 있습니다.
Yeah, go ahead. How do you say go ahead in Korean? 안녕하세요.
저의 아이가 있는데 아이가 지금 우울증으로 많이 힘들어합니다. 사는 게 힘들다고 얘기하기도 하고, 지금 우울증이 좀 이렇게 심하다가 조금 괜찮아지다가 힘들어하고 있는데 제가 엄마로서 어떻게 도와야 할지 묻고 싶습니다.
Orange.
Master, I have a question. I have a child and he's experiencing depression. And he told me that it's difficult to live. Sometimes the depression gets very extreme, sometimes gets a little bit better. How can I help my son?
How old is he?
How can I help my child?
How old is he?
몇 살입니까? 나이가 몇? She?
This is a very serious problem.
몇 살이에요? 22 years old. It's a daughter, not a son.
Daughter? Okay.
22 years old.
It's worse than I thought. Okay. How often does she have thoughts of suicide? When you hear people who have depression, folks, it's a serious problem that you need help. It's not something you can handle by yourself. I will make a few more comments, but it's something that needs to be taken offline. The point here is that this depression here is a mental illness. Like it or not, I'm going to have to spit it out for you. And you don't believe me, that's okay. Walk away. It's not for you. It's a depression ghost that possess these people and plant thoughts in their mind that make them do stupid things, okay, like hurting themselves, and so forth. And it's a lot more commonplace than people realize. So it's not something you can handle that the medical profession, the professionals can handle themselves, unfortunately. However, the therapists and the psychologists are helpful at the course level where they try to harm themselves, jumping a bridge and slitting, cutting their wrists and so forth. That the professionals can help, and they have systems there to make sure that they get help or they get some Prozac or some medication to help with at the course level so that they don't harm themselves. Okay. However, and there also things like ECT, electrical convulsion therapy, stuff like that for very heavy duty cases where they give electrical shocks to you. It seems to help them. Okay, but it's very painful. However, it's because this is a ghost that comes in and out on these people, so that when a ghost enters you, he pulls your strings and makes you do stupid things, and then he leaves. He or she leaves. And your taking meditation is not going to help because he comes and goes as he pleases. Okay? So this is something that you need professional help. Okay? And for her, in her case here, we need to take it offline. We can schedule a time where we get more details. And the good news, the bad news is that it's a ghost thing, so it's not something that the medical profession is equipped to handle. The good news is that it's because the ghost realm is in the spiritual realms that for Buddhism, so we recognize them, we know how to deal with them, and we can help in general. That's a good news. Okay, but it's a lot of work. It's very dangerous. It's very delicate things you can do. Why do I say that? Because I speak from experience. I'm a severe bipolar person, meaning I have severe depression. I thought of killing myself 5 times, okay? Especially after I got divorced. I thought of killing myself, okay? And so forth. So I have experience in dealing with that myself, and many of my disciples are also bipolar, so I help them as well, and they become normal. And it's possible to have a normal life, and especially in particular, if you cultivate. This is our motivation, by the way, for us professionals. I tell my disciples, my monks and nuns, that you bipolar, so I would teach you, I train you how to overcome this so that in the future you will be able to help others who have the same affliction, the same problems. Okay? And in fact, the abbot at Jewel Mountain should be able to help already with the depression issues. Okay? So, short answer, we need to talk further offline. It's not, each case is different. We can help. And again, I say this because we are very busy taking care of our own people. So we really not doing these things and saying these things in order to gain popularity or fame and profits and so forth. We're very busy ourselves. We have a lot of work to do. However, in these cases, because of our followers, our supporters who've been coming to the temple and support us, and therefore we feel obligated to help them, to reciprocate, to support them when they need help. That's all. But whether the rest of the world believes what we do or our explanation or not, it's not that important to me. Okay? So we have to take it offline. So arrange for a time, okay? And we can talk. We do a conference, daily conference with them. Okay? It's not that bad, really. It just it takes time, okay? And we have some experiences, quite a few, over the years. We've been doing this for around 10 years already. Okay, and it came about because of my personal needs, and then. But then it's myself, and it has nothing to do with you. And then several years ago, about 10 years ago, one of the people who came here, he's half from my master's temple. He's a Qin generation, a 3rd generation. I'm a Guo, the 2nd generation. And he's half and half. He's a Qin, so he's over there in my master's temples, disciples. But he came over here to be trained by me, to learn from me. And so he's a half and half, so I can go for so far. And he experienced severe depression, and he killed himself. Okay, and before he jumped off the roof, he tried to call me, but I didn't feel his phone call. Okay, so that's a failure in my life that I regret, and I'm, that because of that, he's in the Pure Land now, by the way. Okay, I always have the last laugh. You can kill my people, but they go to the Pure Land. They're not gonna fall. So anyway, so because of that, I take it very personally. When these beings try to hurt my people, I now would not let it happen. They had to kill me first. Okay? That's not going to happen at all under my watch from now on. That's what I made, a promise I made to myself. And furthermore, to make it worthwhile for that young man to lose his life, okay? I send him to the Pure Land, and after that, I make it a point to help a lot of people deal with this depression and bipolar issues. It's very dangerous. So many people have depression. So many people are bipolar, and it's very, very contagious. It spreads within the family. One person has it, the whole family gets it, typically. Okay, so it's a rather dangerous and delicate thing, but they're manageable. Okay, it's all right. So again, I can't. It is not. Each case is different. Each case is. I use each case right now to train my students to recognize and how to work with these people, these new cases, because I helped them myself. My monks and nuns got to where they are today because I helped them. So now I'm training them to help their followers. Okay? All right. Anything else? Yes. Give her a microphone.
I have one comment and two questions. One comment was that a couple of years ago, Venerable Guoyin, when we used to be over here and at the beginning of the White Mountain Temple, I guess it was the environment and her sisters and everybody. I used to be so afflicted because I would be chatting, and I couldn't even hear what Master was talking. So, but now, around this year, Guoyin is, I love to be sitting next to her. So she is very pleasant to be next with. I would like to request that Guoyin to come here very often so that I can sit next to her and be very happy. That's a
Okay, that's spy number 2. So whatever you spies want to do, whatever you're up to, go for it.
And then two questions. Question number 1, I had a false start this morning. I saw a white lotus about this large with a monkey sitting on it. And the monkey is skinny and it's on full lotus. And then I also saw another really big white lotus, like really big, like this big, and YongHua was sitting on it. And then when I come over here, I saw YongHua and I laughed.
Yeah, absolutely. The monkey is the boy, And so the boy with his nanny, that's why. Okay, you got it.
So, is there any good thing about it?
No.
Bad thing about it?
Just a monkey, so what's the big deal?
Okay. Second question. I noticed one difference. I don't know if the Blue Mountain better than White Mountain or what. This 40, when I came over here, I felt not okay. I always feel like I don't want to come in. And then, but when I came inside the temple, I noticed that then I'm happy. That thought of whatever that was, that like don't want to be here, it completely disappeared, which is a new thing to me. Because in the past, I felt I didn't want to come in. When I came in, I also have all kinds of problems. I wanted to run out. So I don't know what the change is. Is that because something is being kept outside Blue Mountain, or what happened, Master?
I don't know. I don't care.
Am I getting worse or getting better?
Who cares?
You said you would take care of people who come to cultivate in your temple.
You a spy, what do I care?
So sad.
The instructions for everyone. Whether you spy or not, you follow instruction, you make it. You don't follow instruction, you won't make it. So what's the big deal? Whether but so far we can go with spies. Go ahead, the old spy.
Mô Phật và Thầy, cái mà bệnh trầm cảm, cái đó là cái nó bị quan gia trái chủ không Thầy? Cái trầm cảm.
Master, does the depression problem caused by the past creditors?
This woman here is manic. That's why she doesn't listen. I recognized her 10 years ago. That's why I never tried to tell her anything. She will only listen when it suits her. Okay? And so, you see, she says, I came here because I have these plans. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to help you in the kitchen, I want to do you a favor, I want to be important, I want to do all the things I wanted to do. As long as I can do those things, okay, then I come. If I cannot do those things, I don't want to come anymore. That's manic. You see? So with these people, same thing with the other girl as well. The other girl is manic as well. So for some reason, send manic spies over. And other spies, other spies here at the temple, a young man's also manic, another woman is manic, another man is manic. I don't know why these people are so sick, and they send over here, maybe to test my patience or something. So it's okay. That's what happens when you're manic. You don't listen. You don't listen at all, so it's no point. So the way we deal with it is that we don't talk to you. I don't punish you. I will punish your ghost. That's why your ghost is afraid of me. I'm not afraid of you, but your ghost is afraid of me. That's all. Okay? Here, we're the boss. At home, it's none of our business. That's why I alluded to you earlier, like when you come to the temple, you bring all those beings with you to the temple, and if those beings jump from you to your neighbor right there, Tuha, for example, it's not allowed. Okay? It's not okay. So we need to provide you protection right there. Okay? So that's why it's enforced. It's enforced in our temples. You can come and feel safe. And come, you cannot, even if you have COVID-19, you cannot, it's not we're not going to tolerate that you be infected and get in trouble. We may let you get infected. We'll fix it for you so that you increase your immune system. Okay? We're very territorial. There's rules of law here in our temples. Everyone behaves. You don't behave, we ask you to leave. Okay? So the manic ghosts, if they don't behave, we beat them up. That's all. Because this is our territory. You have to behave. That's the requirement for you to stick around. That's Buddhism. It's a common thing in Buddhism, by the way. In Buddhism, the monks and nuns learn to set up boundaries. Before, for example, in my master's temples, before you do a Fochi, they recite the Sa Jing. They create boundaries, okay, where they walk around, recite, the Great Compassion mantra. They walk around, create boundaries, okay. They walk around Buddha Hall, they walk around the grounds and so forth, okay. That's one way to create boundaries, where within the boundaries during that Fochi, during a Chanchi, everyone who goes through, who enters the boundaries, will have to behave and follow the rules. They don't behave, they will be kicked out officially. So they'll be enforced. Okay? So that's what happens. But that's what the Chinese do. Our boundaries are even stronger than theirs. That's why we don't do the boundaries, because we're lazy. Okay? We don't need to do it that way. We set up boundaries ourselves because we're very territorial. You need protection, otherwise you won't be able to function. Okay? So, for example, spies comes and they say, "Oh, I'm here to do my spy work," and then it's okay. We tolerate it, but as soon as they start to want to cultivate, then their ghosts will have to behave. Otherwise, they'll be disciplined. That's all. Okay? You cannot. This environment here. When I alluded to you earlier that we create an environment where we provide you protection, that's a fact. You need protection. Otherwise, when you go back home, you find that your head is full of crazy thoughts. That's your normal life. But you come here, they get fewer and fewer and fewer naturally, because part of it is that your ghosts have to behave. Otherwise, we're patient, because they come, we tolerate for a while, and they don't behave. That's when we enforce. We send Brother Vito to have a talk with them. You know Brother Vito? You don't know? We have enforcers. Okay, you don't watch The Godfather at all, the series? Okay, never mind. So you see, it's a lot more going on you think. Imagine you go to a place where people don't give you that kind of protection, meaning that your mindset from home, you have all these crazy thoughts from your ghosts and from your past creditors. Okay, you bring to the temple, you infect the temple. Okay, so it takes you a lot longer, and unless you have the proper protection, you actually are causing a lot of damages to the place of cultivation. That's not happen in our temples. We're very, very territorial. That would be a waste of our time to imagine, how much work it is for us to put on an event like this for 7 days, So we don't tolerate it. It's not going to happen. So that's part of the help you're getting, is that you need the initial help in order for you to be able to deal with your challenges that are more helpful in helping you improve. Okay? So it's funny to me that people in your daily life you struggle so much, and you come here and you expect not to struggle, and that's delusions. Okay, because you come to the temple and you say, I want to have a good time, I want to relax and have a good time, then you basically are ignoring your problems, the life's challenges. Okay, you basically are putting head into the sand, and so our temples are not like that. Okay, you want to put your heads in the sand, feel free to do that. But in our way places, we have all this infrastructure to help you learn to cope with your difficulties and your challenges. Whatever the challenges are, the nice thing about Mahayana is that we are fairly well equipped to handle most of your challenges. Okay? That's what this is about. The trend for religious organizations, whether it's churches, whether it's temples, is that we're losing faithful. They're abandoning, they don't come to the way places anymore. They don't come to churches anymore. They don't come to the monasteries anymore. Why not? Because we are no longer helpful to them. We're no longer providing services. For example, this is, again, I hope that my peers, my colleagues will forgive me for saying this, but we're becoming a social place where you come here, it's because you're looking for a wife or a husband. Okay? Because, yeah, it's true. People who come to the temple tend to be better. And in particular, our temples, for some reason, the girls are pretty. I don't know why, but the girls are prettier, okay? And the boys are okay. We're manly, we're not supposed to be pretty, okay? We have scars, we have, the manly stuff. Anyway, so nowadays, can I take a few more minutes to talk about this, because this is a fact nowadays. Nowadays, for temples to make it, it has to be a social gathering where people come here for social reasons. Okay, they come here to have fun, to socialize, and to look for a boyfriend and girlfriend, to look for a wife. That's a fact. And those places are the places that are very, very popular. It's very rare to find people like you who come here and endure the hardships. For that woman spy number 1 there, I knew she was a spy back then already. I would tolerate her, okay? And as long as she follows instruction, it's acceptable. You see? So it's open for everyone. We're not forcing you to do anything. But we will not be a place where you socialize, because it's very easy for us to be double our size very quickly, because all I have to do is put your photos of the girls on our website and say, oh, this is our people. And that's not why we're doing this. Okay, so we're more like a boutique where we're here not for social reasons. We're here to improve ourselves, okay, and to receive training, And in contrast, the other places, they don't go through the training I put you through. So that's why the monks and nuns, okay, don't have any real skills to bring you to the temple besides a social event. Okay? For us, we put you through the grinders because it's part of the process to help you learn to cope with your screwed up minds, your deluded minds. This is why we're doing this. We set up these way places in order to help you overcome your delusions. So we need to train you. I need to train my people, okay, to overcome their delusions first before they can help you. So you see the examples around you. Look around you. You know, these people are at various levels of delusions, but they are making progress. We are all making progress towards, clarity of mind. Okay? That requires spiritual training. You cannot learn the skill anywhere else. You cannot go to university and learn from even the best institutions in the world. They cannot help you overcome your delusions, your ignorances, your stupidity. Okay? Because we have those programs to help you do those, to overcome your crazy minds. All right? So that's why we're doing this. Whereas, and that's what we're proud of, is that every single way place we set up is for that purpose. Okay? We serve a small group of people who are interested in overcoming their afflictions, become better husbands, better wives, okay? Better girlfriends, better workers, okay? Better politicians, whatever, okay? Whatever you feel is important in life for you to do, okay? We train to help you improve as a person first. That's all we do. Whereas this is what my master, this is why he brought Mahayana to the West. That's to do that. So we continuing that tradition, okay? To train you, to help you do that. Whereas, and that requires hard work. It requires a lot of training, a lot of difficulties, okay, that you learn to overcome. Whereas, and if you don't go through that, if the monks and nuns don't go through that, they only learn is how to do ceremonies and how to do fundraising and how to organize social events, okay? Then eventually people will not come to the temples anymore because the temple no longer feels the needs, the spiritual needs that the people in society needs. Okay? I don't care how rich you are, how smart you are. You have so many delusions in here that unless you recognize them, you will never be able to overcome them by yourselves. It's not possible. We have the skills, we have the training, you have the technology to help you do that. And that's keeping us very busy. Okay? And if you don't have the skill, then the only other reason for people to come to the temple is a social thing. It's a habit, it's a cultural thing, but that's not what we stand for. Okay, and that's why in most cultures we're losing Buddhist disciples, we're losing Catholic disciples, is because they no longer, the priests and the monks and the nuns are not skilled enough to help you address those problems of yours. And that's what we offer. That's what I feel strongly about, that that we established way places contrary to my masters. I'm very proud to say. I opened a way place contrary to my master YongHua's emphasis. I opened a way place in order to open the doors for everyone, to help everyone who wants to come here and learn. We don't open a way place in order to shut it and protect, create a territory and protect ourselves and be comfortable in our environment and you come and idolize us. No, we open our way place we have a way place to open our doors and help everyone who comes to our temple seeking help. That's our ideals. Okay? And in order to do that, okay, we need to work together as a team. Meaning you need to be trained to do that. That's what we do. This is what I intend to do the rest of my life until I retire. That is to train people to be able to help society. Okay? And it takes time. It takes hard work to train. Okay? All right. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Back there. Black. Purple.
师父啊, I just want to say thank you for giving me the challenge. This past 5 days in Fuji had a lot of interesting experiences. And I also would like to share an experience I had this morning. So, for some reason, when we were walking around singing Emitofuo, I had it's like my heart was aching, kind of feeling like a yearning I wish to be with Buddha. And then, so when I sat down to meditate, it's when I had visions of all the birds, the different faces and the type of birds that were chirping outside, and also the owl, and then also visioned like the pavement, the earth, the ocean, and the air. So I took that as he was explaining or just showing me that he's all of these, he's everywhere around us. So that's I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Very good. Could be the birds in the Pure Lands. Could be not the ocean, but the lotus ponds in the Pure Land. Okay, so that's the kind of connections you're building when you recite and you do the Fochi. You're creating blessings to be able to get closer to those rewards. Question from Korea.
네, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
제가 아이들을 법당에 데리고 왔는데요. 제가 생각하기에는 애들이 평소보다 좀 더 제멋대로고 자유롭고 더 뛰어다니고 더 소리 지르고 그러는 것 같아서 애들한테 물어보니까 신나서 그렇다고 하는데 그 스님들의 배려로 지금 아이들 이렇게 마음대로 풀어놓고 있긴 하는데 아이들이 이렇게 막 좀 더 제멋대로 절에서 행동하는 이유가 있는 건지 계속 이렇게 둬도 되는 건지 여쭙고 싶습니다.
Master, I brought my children today, and I think my kids are too free and running around, screaming around, and I asked them why they're behaving that way. And my children told me they feel good. And just leaving them that way, the synonyms allowed them to be free. Is there any reason that it's okay for them to be this free without behaving with a respect in a temple?
The children, they should be free. Respect is a adult concept. Why would you impose that thing on the children? It's not time to teach them about respect yet. It's wrong. If you teach them about respect that way, actually it may have, in some cases, may turn the children off. Some of the bright children would have a very bad impression of the adults trying to force them into a mold that doesn't allow them to be themselves. That would be a horrible thing. So it works if you teach them children and put them in that kind of rigid framework for most children. But however, the bright kids, I have some in our temple. I have some really unruly ones, okay? And it comes to mind because for these kids, for these particular unruly kids, if you force them into this mold, they will behave, but they will build resentment and say, I'm forced to do something that, and they build resentment. I see it in them. So for example, these kids are forced into a mold at home. So when they come to my temple at lunch, okay, you can see that there's tension. And within half an hour, they relax and they start running around and screaming and yelling and so forth. So these restraints were removed within half an hour and they can be themselves. Okay? That to me is much healthier state of mind for children. Okay? Then it's premature to force them to a mold. Not yet. I feel that it's not time for that. And unless they have some challenges that we need to, they have special needs. But so that primarily for me, I would hate it myself if you try to force me into a mold. That's why I struggle so much. I went to a Chinese temple system. Okay? Because everything is so rigid. Everything is so structured. Okay? There's no room for you at all. And it doesn't work for me, for a person like me, because if you force me to do something, you better explain to me why. If your reasons are not good enough, I will disregard your instructions. Okay? So I give you a chance. If you ask me to do something, I would like to say, why do I have to do this? Okay? And if you don't explain to me, I will ignore you. I will find ways to go around you. Okay? And that's a typical children's reaction, if you will. I never grew up, let's face it. Okay? So personally, I find it when you force people, it's not a good thing. Okay? Because since I was younger, I remember my younger days, typical in the Vietnamese culture, they're very strict and they tell their structure and so forth. And you know what happens to me? I have this disregard for people who impose a will on me. Like my father. Never could get along with my father my entire life. Because he says, I'm your father, therefore you must respect me. So how do I react to it? I don't respect him. And when I'm here, I don't expect you to respect me. I expect myself to earn your respect. Because my father never earned my respect. So he ruins my relationship because of Vietnamese culture, you know. the father is the head of family. You need to respect the father. But for me, I saw so many things that's wrong, they did wrong, that I said, I can't respect a person like that. Okay? So it's very helpful for me. I learned from those experiences. And unfortunately, never could get along with my father. So if I did, he'd probably still be around. He'd probably still be alive and be an abbot or one of my temples. I guarantee you that. Okay? So that's what happens when you force people. You hurt yourself. For you parents who are forcing your children, you're hurting yourself. I guarantee you. Okay? Because I never liked my father. Never respected him. And he could have been here right now. When, he could be in his 80s now, and a big shot. I put, he wants recognition, he wants fame, I would give him fame, recognition. Okay? Because we have the skills. So anyway, so in general, children, I prefer to let them be themselves and tolerate everything that they do. That's for my personal preference. Okay, and time and time again, many children are brought to our temples. You notice, I'm telling you, you watch them, within half an hour, they all changed, all of them. Because, let's face it, our environment is better than your home environment. That's why they're happier. That's a fact. Okay? And that's why I try to tell you that in the future I like to have programs. I have a summer camp, so you bring the kids for a week and we let them experience the great atmosphere. Okay? That will nurture them and let them be at their best instead of being hampered by their limited parents. Trust me, I know a lot of rich people, I know a lot of famous people, I know a lot of brilliant people, geniuses. Okay? I look at them, I tell you this, they don't know how to educate their children. Kings and queens, they don't know how to teach your children. Not to be insulting. Queen Elizabeth, I admire her. That woman, that queen there has great ideals, okay? And has a long, successful life, okay, career. Look at her successor, total failure. Why do you think she's 95? She does not, she still hangs on to her job because the son is not able to take on, to replace her. Because she and her husband don't know how to educate their crown prince. Okay? They're waiting for that William guy, okay, so that my guess is that Prince Charles' reign will be very short. Okay? They prefer his reign to be short, so they pass on to William, which is much more balanced. So you see, my point, I'm not here to criticize people. My point here is that you may be very successful in what you do. You maybe have a lot of money and be successful investors and CEO and so forth. I have yet to see a brilliant, successful people, including Buffett, for example. He doesn't know how to teach his children. Doesn't. He's a superior individual. He still doesn't know. See that? All right. So that's why we encourage your children to be themselves, and I don't know. Experience kindness of the hearts. Okay? All right. I think time is up. Let's do the great transference. Thank you all.